Hello Ram fam, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Cleveland Rams Football. I'm Jeff Garner, and don't have to introduce my partner here, head coach Scott Riley. Scott, thanks for being here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's jump right in. Rams celebrated homecoming this week. Ram fam got just what they came for, another big win. This time the Rams laid the smackdown on the Spartans of Triple S, final score 56-7. 4 straight wins, which brings us overall record of 6-3, but better still, keeps the Rams undefeated at 3-0 in Two Rivers 3A conference play. I thought it was an absolute solid performance, all 3 aspects, Coach, offense, defense, special teams. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, very pleased with the effort and execution. That was the big thing we talked about all week was don't worry about the result of the play. Sometimes when we play them, they want to score every time and that kind of thing. We just wanted to execute our offense, give what they take us. Both offense and defense, and I thought they did that in every phase of the game. So
absolutely,
I was very proud of their performance.
126 points scored in the last 2 games, Coach. The Rams offense scored on every drive in the first half. 11 total touchdowns on the night. Can the offense play much better than they're doing right now?
No, clicking. They've scored 42 points in the first half of both games when they were all cylinders trying to go all out. So really can't ask for more than 42 points and a half.
Right.
So very pleased with what they're doing, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Absolutely. Props to the defense as well. Last week you and I sat here and you said, after the 54 points were given up to South, you were going to clean things up. I think that was what you said. Well, you sure did that. Rams defense held the Spartans to 35 total passing yards, only 2 completions, 136 yards on the ground for a total of 171. Just an impressive play from the defense.
Yeah, I thought good execution. They fit up where they're supposed to be. And then there's a couple of times they got a big pass play, they got a big run play, and we were able to catch them from behind and get them on the ground and re-huddle. And that's something we couldn't do the week before. And that puts a burden on the offense when you break a big one and you don't get points out of it.
Right. Well, unlike the last several weeks when leads in all the games went back and forth, this one, was really never in doubt. How does it feel, to be in control like that of a game versus, those nip and tuck kind of things?
Well, it's probably not as exciting for the fans or the players maybe, but as a coach, you definitely like it a little bit more when everything's going the way you want it to. But,
well, last week on the ground, the Rams had 269 yards against South. This week, 248. 10 of the 11 total touchdowns were on the ground, shared between 4 different running backs. Bryson Williams with 4, Tyson Dew 3, Joseph James 2, Tion Mickens had 1. Did the game, dictate that ground and pound, or was that the kind of the plan going in?
Yeah, when you build a lead, you want to hold on to it. When you get in games like that, it gets a lot of hand. You get more people in, more opportunities to carry the ball. You want to keep throwing it when you're up 42 points. So the game kind of dictated that, but the O-line is definitely improving and paving the road for those running backs to get those touchdowns and those yards. So everything's where we want to get to heading into the playoffs.
And distributing between all those running backs, I mean, that was great to see. I love the distribution.
Yeah, it's always good to get some of the kids that haven't been involved as much in games like that. So.
First, okay, great. Well, as we do each week, Coach, I've queued up some of the plays. Let's jump in right those and let's step through them a little bit, if you would. First play here, we're in the first quarter, obviously, Coach, and first offensive drive for the Rams. Second down, and sophomore running back Tyson Dew takes it in from 23 yards out.
Yeah, really good. Obviously, everyone gets on their block. So when you get through the first 2 levels and you're not touched, it's going to be a big run. What he does there inside the 5 was what makes him special.
Absolutely.
Not going down, puts his hand on the ground, but is able to keep his balance. Really impressive run when you consider he's got people hanging around him. I thought we're ready to at the 4-yard line. We're ready to
huddle back up,
call the next play. Coach Katz probably already got his play call in his mind, and then he just refuses to go down, gets in the end zone, and is excited about it.
Love the kick out block here on the end there coming in as well. So
Nathan does a good job of getting that guy blocked. And Brad Biggs comes from all the other side and gets on the play side linebacker. It's a very difficult block to make in space.
So still in the first quarter here, Coach. Very next series for the Spartans and 2 juniors for the Rams. D makes a big play. Number 32, Jonathan Coward, causes a fumble. Number 40, Jonathan Kistner recovers. Yeah,
we're usually a 3-man front. We came out and started the game. This is the first defensive play of the game. In a 5-down D lineman look. I think it surprised them in the blocking scheme. They didn't block down on Jonathan. He does a great job getting off the ball and kind of shocks the running back that you got big number 32 bearing down on you. And he fails to catch the ball, and he's mad at himself there at the end for not scooping and scoring.
Yeah, I think he had all kinds of ideas of taking that one to the house.
But Kissner does a good job of cleaning it up at the end. But
Absolutely.
Does a great job off the ball and getting it right back in the hands of our offense to get a hot start for us.
Well, after the Rams recover, the Rams drive down to the Spartan 5, and Norman finds Jacob Scott on the slant.
Yeah, you've seen week in, week out, Jacob beat you on the deep pass. So you gotta give him some space in there. But he's also a great route runner and fearless when he catches the football. So, when you do all those things, it's a tough way to defend him. He's really got double coverage there. Safety overruns it, trying to defend the fade route to the back corner. And, Jacob's able to run a good route, sell the route, and Seldy's going vertical first and then break in and make a good catch.
Just great hands. I mean, the boy's got just fantabulous hands. That's my word, by the way, my new word, fantabulous. Okay, Coach, next play shows that swarming Rams defense again we talked about. I count 9 Rams at the ball on this stop on this third down play by the Spartans.
Yeah, we missed the tackle initially. Jalen Vizen really does a great job running down the sideline. Sideline to sideline type linebacker, and makes a great open field tackle, and you can see everybody's in pursuit, angling them off there. So even if Jalen misses that tackle, Jacob Scott's there, and the whole cavalry's coming down the sideline.
Yeah, that's a good word. Cavalry's on the way right there. That's not going anywhere.
That's something we work and take a lot of pride in, and we don't want to miss tackles, but we need to expect guys to miss tackles in our pursuit, and we definitely did that on that play, and I thought they've done a good job of that most of the season as far as the pursuit angles and those kind of things.
Certainly. Well, still in the first quarter here, Coach, not only does Jacob Scott make plays on offense, here he pulls down a big interception for us.
Yeah, I gave him a hard time the last couple of weeks because he's dropped 2 interceptions since he's started playing a little defense. I said, you never drop it when you're on offense. I even told him he can start getting in a receiver stance. It makes him feel better.
Yeah, really.
So when that ball went up, he said that he was not going to come down with it. He ends up battling Jamal Hampton for it. The receiver falls down there, and we have 2 of our own guys battling for it, and they both wanted that interception, and Jacob gets us a little bit higher than it, but good coverage out of both of them, and a great job coming out with the ball over top of everybody.
Yes, it was. Okay, after the INT, Coach, Norman finds senior number 15 Jake Mason across the middle. Mason shows his athleticism after this catch.
Yeah, Jake's done a great job for us this year since he's moved from quarterback, and has some deceptive athleticism there, and great move in the middle of the field, in the open field, and almost gets in. I think if we had a red flag, we might throw it on that one. But, we end up getting in on the next play, I believe.
Yeah, I really did think he thought he got in there at the pylon, but yeah, that was a great catch and run. He did a good job. A lot of downfield blocking for you here as well.
Yeah, those receivers take a lot of pride in that. Coach Jacobs does a great job with them about, laying the block for the other guy, and it ends up paying off in the long run for you if you do that, because everyone's going to do it for each other. They do a great job blocking downfield.
All right, Coach, later in the game, Rams driving again. After a penalty, Rams have a 1st and goal from the 17. Junior number 2, Tion Mickens, takes the handoff and makes a nifty run into the end zone. Yeah,
Tion's a talented player. Been playing primarily defense for us, but he's the fastest player on our team, hands down. And you see that speed right there. He gets in that hole fast, and the O-line does an unbelievable job. I mean, there's not anyone within an arm's length distance, until he's to the 7-yard line there. But great speed and great blocking equals a touchdown most times.
Yeah, it's you talked about it last week. You talked about Tyson kind of having that long stride. And that's not Tion. Tion is
he's going fast.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. Yeah. So all right, great job, Coach. Thanks a lot. So next up, Coach, weekly awards. Tell us about them.
Our offensive, there's obviously a lot to choose from.
I was going to say, here we go again.
Not a lot of bad grades when we grade it all out at the end of at any phase of the game. But offensive player of the week goes to Bryson Williams. Does a great job for us every week, scouting, running the ball hard in practice. And this week he got to run the ball a few more times and got in the end zone 3 times.
Yes.
That's a good job out of the senior. For the offensive player of the week. The defensive player of the week goes to Janathan Coward. Saw him causing the fumble there. Those highlights. He's played mostly linebacker for us. He switched to D-line for us this past week we wanted to put an extra guy on the line of scrimmage, and he did a great job of that. You wouldn't have known he wasn't a D lineman all week.
Absolutely.
He did a great job getting off the ball and being real physical in the backfield. And
he was just a force. He was a force.
Yeah, there's a lot of defensive players that, Jalen Vincent had another game. Tevin, Tion, that I think all played really well up front. Noah and the crew, I think, all played well. So I gave him the nod just with the position switch and playing well.
Gotcha.
It was a pleasant surprise. And then special teams player of the week, a lot to choose from. I thought we did a real good job on kickoff, probably the best kickoff coverage we've had.
I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that.
So the whole kickoff team could have earned it. And then we blocked the field goal, and so gave it to the PAT block team as a whole, because everyone has a role in that. You roll, not necessarily to block it, but it was hard to determine who blocked it. TJ Nauman, Janathan Coward, and Tion Meekins were all there to block it. I don't know who.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who got it, but
So
could have been either one of them.
All three of them, and the whole block team gets one. Wish they'd picked it up and scored. They're so used. They've blocked so many PATs this year, and as soon as you block a PAT, the play's dead. But this is a field goal. It's the first field goal we've had the opportunity to block, and they forgot that field goal rules and PAT rules are different.
Yeah.
We were going nuts on the sideline.
Yeah. Oh, we were going nuts in the press box the same way.
They've done a great job with that all year. They take a lot of pride in blocking kicks, and I don't know if anyone in the state's blocked as many kicks as we have.
I would love to know.
Not just this year, but the last 3-4 years, and so.
Well, you mentioned like I said, special teams. I agree 100%. I mean, I was actually going to pull up some stats and didn't get the opportunity, but by far the tackling, the yards after the catch. I mean, it was almost nil. I mean, the tackling and the coverage on kickoffs was just amazing.
Yeah, and where it actually shows is our offensive points were up, but the yards were down because we got a lot better starting field position. So it does make a difference, and we can continue to build on that when we get to these closer games we're going to have here at the end of the year. Then it can really pay off and be a difference in a game.
Yes, sir.
The Trenches Player of the Week goes to James Martinez. Coming back from injury, he played guard this week instead of tackle, and did a great job in there. Really, when you rush for that many yards, you got to have a road grader in there. He can play the finesse tackle position. He can also go in there and mash you up front.
Yes, he can.
He does a great job for us in that regard. And then Special Teams Player of the Week, Scout Team Player of the Week goes to Jake Mason. Caden had hobbled, slowed with some injuries this past week, so Jake stepped in as our scout team quarterback. Did a great job, gave us a great look all week of what we were going to see. And really got the defense motivated and playing hard. So he did a great job for us there. Took a lot of pride in that. And then last but not least, the program players of the week. We got two, TJ Nauman and Noah Barnes. Gave them this because every Friday night, the guys put all their laundry in there, clean up. There's always some trash around, things laying on the floor. Those two always stay behind. When everyone else leave, they're the last to leave, and they clean up the defensive locker room. And some seniors would make a sophomore do it.
Oh yeah, that's yours. Yeah.
But these seniors, they start, they do a lot for us, but they took it upon themselves to make sure that their space is clean, and they will let everyone else leave, and they clean up after and make sure it's a good thing. And
that's pride in
it. Something no one sees, no one's gonna see. But we really appreciate it.
Pride in the program, pride in what they do. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Now let's talk about the Rams' upcoming game this week. Rams are back on the road in Game 4 of 5 Two Rivers 3A Conference games this week. We head to Harnett County to Western Harnett, take on the Eagles. Eagles 2-7 on the season, 1-2 in conference play. As far as those conference games go, the Eagles defeated Triple S 21-19. Lost by only 3 at home against South a couple weeks back. Last week they had a tough time to Corinth, lost 48-7. The Rams have never lost to Western Harnett, but it's always a tough place to go play.
Yeah, it's even though it's a conference game, it's a long bus ride out there. So not that should be a reason.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since we've been out there. We haven't. They've come to us 2 years in a row because they had the conference switched up, just like we had to go to Triton for 2 years in a row. So it's been a while, been 3 years since we've been out there for varsity game, and they are a dangerous team.
Yes, they are.
Most of their games have been close that they've lost. They here and there, and the turnover bugs got them a lot of times. So if they protect the ball and hold on to it, run that triple option, they can be a dangerous team.
Yeah, and talking about that, they are struggling a little bit on offense, but again, they're tough. They're averaging about 9 points a game. Defense giving up about 34. Offensive line is a bit young, but they do have a 6'2", 315-pound senior on that line. His name's Zach Green. They obviously have some good speed, especially on defense. 2 senior linebackers, 6'1", 198-pound Delaquan Austin Ray, 5'7", 175-pound Brandon Farmer. They also have a big bruising running back coach, 5'11", 232, and that's Michael Starks. What's going to have your attention this week in preparation for the Eagles?
Well, they're as you kind of mentioned there, they're a big team.
Yeah.
One of the biggest teams we've played, big up on the offensive front and the defensive front, and their running backs are big too. So, you know, as a challenge for us last year, they came up and just try to mash you, grind the game out, keep our offense up the field. So it's going to be a physical game, and we're going to try to beat them at that aspect of it if we're going to be successful. But, you know, as long as their goal is going to come out and protect the football.
Yes.
You know, the games that they haven't turned the ball over. They've been very competitive or won the game, and they've had some games where they turned it over quite a bit, and that's where they're. And that's something you can clean up pretty quickly. So that's something we're going to try to work on.
Well, even though Coach Fury's been at Western since 2013, he became the head coach just last season. Prior to that, he coached at Union Pines. Jack Britt serving as head coach at Union Pines for a year. Is tape from this year and last enough to go on to feel comfortable studying them, or do you go back to places like UP and Jack Britt to look at stuff?
Well, no, I think, you know, look what they did last year and this year. This year in particular, because it's a new set of every high school team is a lot different than it was the year before. So, you know, we played him when he was at Union Pines, and we were at Harnett Central, so we're familiar with it. But they're doing a lot new things, different than they were back then. So, yeah, this year's tape is probably what we draw on.
Well, this will be the Eagles senior night, Coach. That means some game routines and timelines might be a little off as compared to a normal night. Does that play into the game preparations, or will it kind of be business as usual, so to speak?
We'll try to keep it as you know, as business as usual. We'll probably get the field a little bit earlier. Many times we'll go somewhere else on their campus and continue to warm up, so that way it's not that out of our routine. Just it'll be a little darker.
Yeah. All right, Ram fam. Well, there you have it. Here we go again. Time to crank it up one more time. Next up, Western Harnett. Kickoff 7:30, and as we said, it's senior night at Western Harnett, so I'm sure they'll have a packed house and excited about their seniors, giving them recognition. So that means you need to be there early. We'll certainly be covering every play as we always do. We'll be right back here with highlights and our player awards and everything as we always do. Coach, again, thank you so much for your time this week. Any final comments for us?
No, it'll be an exciting game. If we win the game, it'll give us at least a share of the conference title. So it'll be, you know, obviously we don't want to share it. That's one thing we don't like to share. I don't want to share. I don't like that sharing. But it's you know, we'll be conference champs if we can win. So the kids will be excited about that.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Coach. We appreciate it. Ram fan, again, we look forward to seeing you Western Harnett Friday night, 7:30. Until then, as always, go Rams.